All right, welcome back to CUE Live. I'm Chris Walsh here in Palm Springs, California in CUE 2016, and I have the pleasure of hanging out with some innovators from Bonsall High School at North County, San Diego. So introduce yourselves really quickly.
My name is Fleming. I'm the principal at Bonsall High School.
I'm Craig Leach. I'm the Technology and Learning Coordinator for the district.
And I'm Eddie Van Hoosear. I'm the tech lead at the school and also the geography teacher, 9th grade geography.
Awesome. Well, CUE is a place where people connect and reconnect. So Lee and I have known each other for many years from our work at New Tech, so it's great to see you here. Tell us a little bit about the school, how it came about, where you're at in your kind of growth trajectory.
So Bonsall is a really interesting place. It is located between the 5 and the 15 along the 76.
I like how you said the.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
in Southern California.
You're totally SoCal.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get used to that. So the idea is the community is growing. They're widening this freeway to allow more commuter traffic, and so the community is projected to double in the next 5 years.
Wow.
So it's a K-8 district who has always sent their students to a high school, you know, kind of a neighboring town, and decided that they really, as they're growing, they have an opportunity to kind of redefine what high school would look like for this community. So the district unified to an entity that didn't exist yet, and now we are in our second year. We have 9th grade and 10th grade. We have a beautiful building that'll be finished, very innovative,
nice.
and we've been, you know, we're part of the New Tech Network, and so we're very project-based, Chromebook one-to-one. We've got some 3D Sprout immersive technology from HP. We're partnering with HP on a lot of things, so it's been very exciting.
That's cool. So, Eddie, tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a teacher and a tech specialist sort of at Bonsall.
So it's definitely a challenge, but it's a challenge that I've welcomed, and it really, I think it's a challenge for all the teachers there, but it really, it helps make us better teachers, better educators. The students are wonderful, and I mean, it's really great to be able to create all of our own curriculum, and to create it around things that we're all passionate about.
So what is one of the challenges that you've had to overcome? One of 1,000 probably, right?
You know, so Lee mentioned that we have a new HP Sprout technology that are in a couple of our classrooms. One of the
that's the stuff with the projector that projects down, right?
Right. Full touch screen, it has a touch mat and everything. And one of the challenges has really been figuring out how we can integrate that into our classroom. And it's still something that we're working on. We've used it for a couple of projects, specifically for final products, movie editing, a little bit of stop motion work. But it's a challenge to really make sure that we can work it into the humanities courses, into the science courses, into the math courses.
In a meaningful way.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So as a person who's deeply involved, kind of supporting the school from the county, what are some of the things you really like about Bonsall?
What I love about Bonsall, and especially about Bonsall High School, is every project has a community partner in it, and that goes along with the project-based learning. And part of our mission of our school is making our students college and career ready. And so my job is looking for opportunities to find partners, especially in the technology industry, to help partner with those projects to really simulate the real world.
So what's one of the examples of your community partners in a project you've done?
So we're doing a project right now where the students have realized, hey, this wireless isn't robust enough for us. And so a lot of
students realize that. That's great.
Of course. Very quick.
Well, because they've got 5 devices on the wireless, right?
Exactly. They want to work all 5 at once.
Right.
And so they asked me to partner, as well as a consultant that works on our network, to partner in, provide the layout and the diagram, and talk about the kind of equipment that we use. And then also we're going to form a panel, and the students are going to come up with solutions on how that technology can be improved.
That's great.
I love it. Yeah, it makes my job easier.
Yeah, and when they figure it out, can they go around to all the other schools in the area?
Yeah, absolutely. Put them to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that's in the context of the physics class, so they're kind of learning about waves and stuff, and whether or not it causes cancer to have those waves kind of going through. So it's a kind of a cool integrated project, and I wish I knew better physics to be able to talk about besides stuff and brain and stuff.
That's okay. So what are some of the other projects? It's all project-based, right? So what are some of the other cool projects that you guys have done that you're really excited about?
So one that we've done in the geography literature hybrid course that I teach, we did a project called The Price of Water, where we partnered with the local water district, the Rainbow Water District, and we're looking at where does our water come from, how is that affecting us, and really in the larger picture, how the California drought has affected us and will continue to affect us. So at the very end of the project, they were tasked with creating a PSA that they had to film, they had to edit using WeVideo, and then they had to post it to YouTube. And all of it came together beautifully. They prepared it. They presented it in front of the Rainbow Water District representative. And I mean, it was really fun learning about it all.
And how did they feel at the end of that? Did they feel like they really made a difference?
So Lee was actually just telling me a story today about how she was driving her daughter to school, and she was in the car with someone else. The drought came up, and her daughter just immediately started giving all these statistics, all these facts that she'd learned while researching about the California drought.
In that class specifically.
That's great.
So, yeah.
So I mean, that kind of brings up one of the things that often comes up with project-based learning, right? Is there real depth? Is there real rigor? And are students mastering standards? What would you guys say to that? How do you address that with parents and members of the community who say, what you're doing is great, I love it, but come on, are they really learning?
Well, there's a big question about, are they learning what, right? So depth and rigor in a very specific content kind of way raises a question about whether or not we're really helping people to learn, right? And so having the conversation with people about, when did you learn something really deeply? It was something that you cared about the outcome, you had to solve some problems to get there, and people almost always come to the table around that question, like, you know, if you can remember a time where you had to solve a problem, that's when you learned all the stuff around the problem. And I think what's nice about where we're located, I think San Diego County, just compared to other places where I've worked, High Tech High is there, and they've kind of done a good job of educating people sort of on the fringes around project-based learning. And I feel like where we are, people are actually excited about project-based learning. The bigger question we get isn't about whether they're learning the content. It's more about whether or not their own child's grade is being dragged down, even if they learn the content on their own.
Right?
It's the team, right? So they don't ask about, we show them the individual assessments, they get it, they buy into that, but does my kid really have to work with? And we always talk about how they get to work with and the benefit, but I think that's the question we get most often.
Yeah. So one of the things that is challenging, I think, for any school startup, I'll call you guys a startup, right?
That's fair.
Is growing as you keep quality sort of high, right? I'm wondering what sort of lessons you've learned there that you could share with other people that might want to take this on. Lessons you've kind of along the way that if you look back on it, you'd say, oh, I do that differently.
So this is actually my first year at Bonsall High School, and in talking with the teachers that were there last year, their experience this year and last year has just been completely different. I mean, the number of our students more than doubled, making new relationships. The students that they had before now have grown a year older, maybe not having that same connection with them, but they've learned how much that they've had to adapt for each incoming class. That this class is not going to be the same as the previous class, and it's definitely not going to be the same as the next class coming in. And that's something that I'm probably going to learn next year with our next incoming freshman classes. Oh man, these guys are completely different from what I had last year.
Well, and I'll say there's like 99 things I wish I would have done differently last week. But what I'll say right now, and this is sort of a like basic leadership 101 that just why are we doing this? It's just super basic. And I think if we stay really grounded on why project-based learning, why technology, what are the outcomes that it gets us? And I feel like it's easy to assume that people get that because we're in this startup energetic mode. And every time we kind of go back and ground that conversation, I feel like it helps us get better. And so I think the big, wish I could do better is talk constantly about why we're doing it. It seems obvious, but it's hard to do when you're in the swirl of the tornado of getting stuff done.
Yeah. So where do you guys go from here? You've got 2 years under your belt. You obviously have a new group of kids coming in every year until you kind of get to that first full graduating class. But what's your hope for this school, not just for the first graduating class, but even beyond that? And for the community?
Sure. Well, we have a lot of kind of big visions, but one thing that's really, I think, exciting about where we are in Bonsall is we're in a kind of rural community, and so half of our families have kind of property and horses and sort of a lot of resources, and then we have an Indian reservation in our school district, and then we also have quite a few migrant farm workers. And so there's kind of a big gap in the experience and the opportunities that our students have. And so one thing I feel like is a real big part of our vision is narrowing that opportunity gap, really giving big opportunities to rural students who don't usually have those things, and doing that in a way that will kind of bring together some parts of the community that are typically fairly segregated. So I think if we do our work well, that will be a gradual evolutionary experience that our community will have. So that's a big one that's kind of why I wanted to come here. So I'm sure there's other things here. I don't know, Craig.
What do you think on the community side, Craig?
On the community side, again, I think it's about establishing those partnerships for the kids, just giving them the opportunities to see different career fields that they might have not been exposed to in other schools in more traditional models.
And you have a strong internship program. Is that part of it as well?
That is part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so again, just giving those students those opportunities to see. For instance, we have one of our students that's working for the newspaper, and she loved photography, but they said, you can't just do photography, you have to write for us. And so she's learning about writing, she's learning about photography, she's learning about web-based journalism, and so providing those opportunities for our students is just, I think, key.
That's great.
One of the things that I think is really special about our school is what we look for in our assessments with our students. In a traditional school, you might just have, okay, let's take a test on here. It's multiple choice. You got an A, a B, or a C. But we focus assessing our students on their written communication skills, their oral communication skills, their collaboration, their agency, which is, this very vague topic that we're really working on focusing in on. So there are different skills that we look for that the students need to master before they can move forward.
That's great. Well, congratulations on all that you guys have accomplished so far. You have a lot of people I know out there rooting for you and helping you out, but if you can be a resource to other people, can people come and visit? Are you up for visits?
Yes, we love visits. Always help us get better.
That's great.
We have visitors all the time.
If you're down in the San Diego area, you definitely want to check out Bonsall and support them and give them help and encouragement as they go, and they can also share that with you guys as well. But keep up the great work, guys. Thanks for being at CUE as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, cool. For everybody here at CUE 2016 in Palm Springs, I'm Chris Walsh. We'll see you soon.